If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Tired of your car insurance rate going up even with a clean driving record? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Hey there, it's Ryan Seacrest for Safeway. As winter approaches, make sure you set aside some time for self-care. Now through December 2nd, get great savings on personal care essentials when you shop in-store or online. Buy 2 participating self-care items and save $3. Shop for items like Tresemme shampoo, Dove shampoo, Dove men's care body wash, Dove body wash, and Axe shower gel, and save $3 when you buy 2 or more items. Offer ends December 2nd. Restrictions apply. Offers may vary.
Visit Safeway.com for more details.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, November 17th, 2025. Happy birthday to my niece. We tell you what you need to know, give you the important context, and help each other understand.
Today, by the end of 2026, Apple will be a lot different if you believe the sources.
And the sources are reliable in this case. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Robb Dunewood.
Let's start with what you need to know with that big story. Now, it's Monday, so we always like to check in on what Bloomberg's Mark Gurman put in his Power On newsletter on Sunday, but we also have the Financial Times bombshell weekend story. They put it out late on Friday that succession planning for Apple CEO Tim Cook has gotten serious. So with both these together, it looks like a lot of stuff is going to change at Apple. Let's start with what Gurman said. He tied together and expanded on a lot of previous leaks, some of them from Bloomberg, some of them from The Information, some of them from elsewhere, that Apple is going to change the iPhone release schedule. Now, if you don't follow Apple faithfully, you might not realize that since 2011, we have gotten new iPhones in the autumn. They used to come in the summer. Then in 2011, they started coming in the autumn. And then occasionally you'll get the lower priced iPhone SE in the spring. But most of the time you get iPhones in October. Well, starting in the autumn of next year, 2026, Gurman says we're going to get the first foldable iPhone and new iPhone 18 Pro models as usual. But the base model won't be announced until spring 2027, along with a new iPhone Air, and that will become the new pattern for Apple. In fact, Gurman says the Air has always been part of this move, so the reports that it was delayed due to sales figures don't really wash out. Gurman says from what he's heard from people inside Apple, they never expected big sales from the Air. It was sort of a technical exercise on the way to making a foldable. You got to make thin phones, if you're going to make a foldable. Anyway, this change is meant to spread revenue out throughout the year. That makes it easier on suppliers. It makes it easier on the marketing team. And Gurman also says Apple has not been developing a new Mac Pro. Bad news for Mac Pro fans. Apparently, Apple sees the Mac Studio, which is kind of that beefy Mac Mini version, as the heir to the Mac Pro slot in the lineup. Before we get to the Cook succession stuff, Rob, what do you think of all this?
It makes sense because one of the things that if you have followed Apple stock for, I don't know, since the iPhone came out, Q1 after it comes out in the fall, and then usually Q1, that's when the numbers just skyrocket, and it's been like that. But then there's a fall off until the next iPhone comes out. So you have these up and downs. It's not, I wouldn't say it's exactly cyclical, but you can see things that it's time to buy Apple stock because the price is going to skyrocket after these phones, if they do well, come out. I think that Apple buys themselves a little bit of things just kind of staying level with, stuff coming out twice a year, where you just don't have that one big peak and then everything else kind of turns down for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I mean, in 2011, they moved to the autumn because of an iOS delay, honestly. But it turned out to be fortuitous for the holiday shopping season. But the Apple lineup was a lot different. The iPhone didn't make as big of a chunk of its sales as it does now. It didn't have multiple models like it has now. So yeah, that all makes sense to me. And having the foldable be in the Pro announcement in October, and moving the base models to the spring when you might have an SE model, that all makes sense to me as well. Here's the bigger disruption to Apple's outlook for 2026. The Financial Times saying Friday, and I'm just going to quote them here, Apple is stepping up its succession planning efforts as it prepares for Tim Cook to step down as chief executive as soon as next year. So the news is they're getting serious about succession planning, which you do when you know somebody's going to leave. It sounds like the earliest it would happen would be next year. So this could happen soon, but that's not the same as saying it's going to happen next year. According to the Financial Times, the heir apparent is Senior VP of Hardware Engineering Sean Turness. That would put it more in the hardware camp versus Cook, which was more supply chain and logistics. And if a change were to be announced, you would not hear it before the January earnings report. You might hear it during the January earnings report, or you might not. You would probably want to have it come out before WWDC in June, so the new CEO could show up there. Cook is 65, and he has been the CEO of Apple since 2011. So he's not super old as CEOs go these days, but he's been in the job for a while. A lot of folks think that this leak to the Financial Times was meant to test the market reaction, both the idea of Cook stepping down and the idea of John Turness as the heir apparent.
I think it absolutely showcases that. Apple is a ginormous company, and it's one of those companies. It really started with Microsoft when Bill Gates became just as the most popular CEO of a company that we had ever seen before. I mean, there were others back in the in the early 1900s, but from like the 50s,
Henry
on,
Ford types,
yeah,
right?
like
Rockefellers.
But Gates got into that level. Jobs got into that level. I wouldn't say that the current CEO is at that level, but it's Apple. People know who he is because he runs Apple. So if he's going to step down, that could move markets. So it makes perfect sense that, well, let's tease this, see how the market reacts. And if it's okay with it, then we'll actually go ahead and put a succession plan in place.
Yeah. Financial Times pointing out too, that Cook took over from Steve Jobs when Apple was worth a paltry few $100 billion, and it's now worth $4 trillion. So I think you would call Cook's time at Apple a success, but you are hearing a lot of people nitpick around the edges of Apple, saying their hardware releases aren't as solid as they used to be. Their strategy is a little more muddied than it used to be. This is the way Jobs would do it. Has always been something people say, but you hear it said a little more often these days, especially with liquid glass and stuff like that. So I do wonder if that is part of this as well, to say like, hey, well, let's put a hardware guy in charge and really get serious about the hardware. I don't know what that means for the decade-long pivot to services that Apple has been undergoing, and I'm curious what that means if a hardware guy is in charge. But I guess a lot of people are going to look at this as a positive. What do you think?
Here's another part of it as well. As you said, Tim Cook is 65 years old. That's not old by any stretch of the imagination, but he's been doing this for 14 years, and it might just be the point. He's like, hey, you know what? I took us from, multi-hundred, billion-dollar company to a $4 trillion company. We're playing with first, second, or third for the last decade and a half, as far as how big Apple has gotten. I just want to do other stuff. He might just want to go do other stuff. It really could just be simple as that. So we need to put a hardware guy in there. Everybody's going to make assumptions about what's going to happen. But it could literally be that the guy that's 65 and is like, hey, I have fewer sunrises in front of me than I have behind me. I might want to go do something else. And that's really the reason why we're talking about this today.
Yeah, very, very, very possibly. Curious what you guys think too. If you're cool with Turnus taking over, if you're thinking, who really should run Apple is this person, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener, thanks to Brad, Kevin Morgan, Paul Thiessen, and our new patrons, ABKHD, plus JC and Jason coming in on the annual donation.
Yay! Good to see that. Thank you, patrons, for being there for us.
Hey guys, it's Paige from Giggly Squad, and if you're anything like me, holiday shopping has officially started. And you know where I'm going? Ulta Beauty. They have the cutest gift sets right now, like the Sol de Janeiro, Shea Rosa, and Cheer Perfume Mist Trio. It smells so good. I've been misting it everywhere. On me, on the street, on my pillow. It's a whole vibe. I'm obsessed with the Tarte Kindness Cafe Collector Set. It's packed with everyday makeup must-haves, and it's honestly too cute to wrap. And if you need a cozy little self-care moment, the Moroccan Oil Hand Care Essentials Kit is luxe, hydrating, and smells delicious. Don't worry if you can't decide right now. An Ulta Beauty gift card is the perfect gift for everyone. So whether you're gifting your bestie or yourself, make the season yours and head to Ulta Beauty today. Ulta Beauty, gifting happens here.
Hey, it's Mark Marin from WTF here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Dear Career Ladder, you've had your moment. You're linear and one-dimensional. Ambition doesn't just go up anymore. It zigs and zags and squiggles. We're CEOs, executives, founders. We're advising companies, launching side hustles, taking breaks, defining our next act. Ambition on our terms, the possibilities are endless. Chief, lead on. Join us at chief.com.
AI companies have unique business models, each with distinct billing needs. Stripe is the go-to choice for AI leaders, from early-stage startups to scaled enterprises. With Stripe Billing, you can support any business model and easily align your monetization strategy with customer value. Join the ranks of 78% of the Forbes AI 50 and millions of businesses worldwide that trust Stripe to help them build more profitable, scalable businesses. Discover more at stripe.com.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, there's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
Huawei confirmed the new Mate 80 series of phones will launch in China on November 25th, along with the Mate X7. Pre-orders are now open. The line includes the Mate 80, the Mate 80 Pro, the Mate 80 Pro Max, and the Mate 80 RS Ultimate design. It has a circular rear camera module with 12 to 16 gigabytes of RAM and up to 1 terabyte in storage. The RS design version uses an octagon design for the rear camera module and can get up to 20 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, man. At one point, I was among those who thought Huawei may not make it through, especially when they spun off Honor. I thought, that's their dying move. They're spinning off Honor to save it while they go down. Turns out that was wrong. I was definitely wrong to think that. Huawei coming strong. The Mate 80, in a world where people are always talking about whether, can you really innovate in phone design? I mean, this isn't the craziest phone design ever, but those are nice looking phones, especially that RS Ultimate.
They're nice looking phones, but the thing gets me 20 gigs of RAM in a phone. That is crazy. Tommy, you and I are old enough to remember when we talked about RAM in megabytes. We're talking about gigabytes of RAM in a phone.
In a phone too, right? We're not even talking about a desktop. Yeah, that's wild. Google DeepMind released Weather Next 2, which improves 2-week forecasts of temperature, pressure, and wind. Also improves on its already well-regarded tropical storm tracker. DeepMind says it should be as accurate 3 days before a storm arrives as the current model is 2 days before. So you get more accurate a little farther out, gives you more time to prepare. Weather Next 2 also 8 times faster than the previous weather model. If you're using this in an industrial sense, maybe for energy predictions, that's incredibly important. It also now does hourly forecasts instead of the previous 12-hour increments. It still has some trouble with outlier rain and snow events. It says that part of the reason for that is they just don't have as much data on those outlier events, so it's harder to train the model to predict them. And the previous method adapted models meant for image and video generation. So they are turning to training these models specifically on weather data now. Before they had to be processed multiple times because you were using models that weren't really designed for that. The new model only needs to be processed once. That's going to save you cost and energy as well.
Tom, we talk about the negative sides of AI all the time, just because people are kind of pre-designed to pay attention to negative things more so than positive things. But I love to see what Google DeepMind is doing here with weather, because this is the kind of thing where AI can literally save lives. It can, when you have very, very accurate weather predictions, you can give people advance notice of when you think a really bad storm is coming, when you think really bad rain is coming, or whatever the case is. And that ultimately saves lives. So I love to see where AI is absolutely beneficial to people, and weather prediction is one of those places.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean there aren't places for concern, like you say. But it's good to look at this and realize, all those eggs aren't in the same basket here, even within the same company like Google.
The U.S.-based Freedom House issued its annual elevation of internet freedom and found a decline for the 15th year. 27 of the 72 countries looked at showed a decline. China and Myanmar tied for the least free internet. Kenya had the largest decline. Bangladesh improved the most, and Iceland topped the chart as the most free. From the report, half of the 18 countries with an internet freedom status of free suffered score declines during the coverage period, while only 2 received improvements. Georgia, Germany, and the U.S. in that order experienced the steepest declines among those countries.
Yeah. Part of me looks at this and thinks that's going to inevitably happen when something gets older, right? The internet was at its freest when it was new and nobody knew it was there, right? So some of this is to be expected. And then there's a large part of it when you read through this report that has to do with the fact that we are in a period of regimes cracking down on freedoms more broadly. In Germany, it has to do with freedom of expression with memes and things. In the United States, it has to do with moderation, going after technical platforms for how they moderate content. In Georgia, it has to do with governmental organizations and organizing protests and things like that. So it's all different in different places, but you are seeing a couple of pressures, just sort of the traditional bureaucratization of anything over time, along with the political stance as well. If you're wondering, who is Freedom House? They are generally considered to be a somewhat on the left, not in the way the U.S. means on the left, but on the left as far as liberal interpretations of what democracy is. If there's a criticism of them, it's usually that they tend to prioritize liberties over actual freedoms to do things, right? Do you have a liberty to do something versus there's rules, but you're still free to do it?
Yeah, I was going to say not center left like politics, center left right. In the sense that it is better to literally be able to vote than it is to be told who is your leader. Yeah, those type of things. And then you hit the nail right on the head. The internet is not a baby anymore. So when it first came out, when it first started blowing up in the late 90s into the early 2000s, we didn't know what to regulate. Today, we kind of figure some things out. It's like, oh, we don't like that, let's regulate it. Oh, we don't like that, let's regulate that. So just those type of things, even in what you would consider to be free economies, tends to take away from the freedom that you had on the internet because you can't do what you used to be able to do.
Now, that said, I think this is important to pay attention to because as that pendulum swings that direction, it becomes more important to guard against the wrong kinds of restrictions, right? And I think that's one of the things that Freedom House is trying to call attention to here is, hey, as we are locking down the internet, that doesn't always mean it's a good thing, right? And the Freedom House, like I said, very libertarian in its look, in small L way, but it is highlighting some things where you may go, well, I actually thought we needed more rules, but maybe not those rules, right? And so it becomes time to be more vigilant about what's actually being restricted.
Yeah, in countries where we have freedom of speech, it shouldn't be things like the leaders of said country saying it should be illegal to talk poorly about me. Those kind of things you don't necessarily want.
Yeah, and you're seeing
that's
that
going to
in
knock your score down if it is the leader of a country saying those kind of things.
Hearst Network has commissioned the UK's Particle 6 to make a TV series. And you may say, Tom, why is this on Daily Tech News Show? Well, it's because Particle 6 is that studio that made the news recently for claiming its virtual actor, Tilly Norwood, would be able to pick an agent to represent it soon. Now, no news on that part, but Hearst has commissioned Particle 6 to make a 10-episode short-form series for the History Channel Netherlands called Streets of the Past. And it specifically wants them to use generative models to make the environments that the host is going to travel back in time to. So you'll have a human host, you'll have human editors and human producers, but you'll be creating environments and even some background characters and such. I don't know if they're going to interview background characters, but you're going to create the world of the past using generative models to do it. They're going to visit some of the Netherlands' most famous streets, their big squares, canals, that sort of thing. And the show is set to air this January.
This is one of the advancements that's going to be made in productions like this that you kind of say, I get that. That's not bad. But it's not going to stop there. It's just going to keep happening. So there probably are some people who are upset about, well, we used to pay people to do this and, to generate it and to actually draw it. Now you're having a computer do it. And the computer probably can do a very, very good job at that. So I just say this to say this. We've talked about this a lot on this show. AI is coming into TV and movie making. It's already here, and we're going to see more of it. So I'm just wondering how we're going to react to it and how we're going to ultimately learn to exist with it.
Yeah. It's also that journalistic cycle of like freak out over the thing that is least real, which is Tilly Norwood, and then undercover the actual thing that's like, right. Oh, they're really using generative models to make the backgrounds. I'm curious how well that's going to work. And it could work great. It could be really bad. And if it's really bad, it's like, oh, well, that's the signpost on the road to it eventually getting good, but we're not there yet. So I'm going to be curious to take a look at this in January once it's out there to see what it looks like. Finally, some quick headlines. These are good to know sort of things to keep in your mind if you want to understand stories in the future.
Former Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos and former Google Life Sciences executive Vic Bijal will be co-CEOs for a startup called Project Prometheus, developing generative models and products for engineering and manufacturing.
Bezos back in the CEO role. That's interesting to see. Several subsea cables, Metas to Africa, Google-backed Blue Ramen, that's Raman, not ramen like the noodles, India-Europe Express, SeaMeWe 6, and Africa 1 have been delayed because of difficulties navigating political tensions in the Red Sea region. And the fallout from this could be you see a slowdown or you don't see a speed up is probably a better way to put it, in the kinds of internet businesses that need this in that region, in that Africa region.
OpenAI posted on Threads that ChatGPT will now be better at not using M dashes when you tell it not to, and include an example of custom instructions.
Better at. Not perfect, but better at. The Public Interest Research Group tested 3 toys that use OpenAI's GPT-4o and Mistral models to talk to kids who play with them and found, they said, inappropriate and sometimes dangerous things when the group focused on making them do so. One of the toy makers, Folo Toy, has paused sales of its Kuma toy while it investigates these findings.
We're going to keep trying to make these things be gentle, and they just are showing us they're not necessarily when it comes to kids.
The all-purpose model, probably not the best for this situation.
Probably not. The European Commission announced plans to begin a probe into cloud providers, including AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud, to see if they should be subject to the EU's Digital Markets Act, including interoperability and data portability.
Now, they would be not subject because they're enterprise, but I think everyone's mad about the cloud outages. So the EU is going to be like, let's just look. Let's take a look. Closing arguments in the remedy portion of the U.S. antitrust case against Google's ad exchange behavior has been delayed until November 21st. So if you were thinking we might get the news on that this week, is Google going to have to spin out its ad division? We're not going to even get a hint of that until next week.
Samsung raised contract prices for 32 gigabytes of DDR5 modules from $149 to $239, and 16 gigabyte and 128 gigabyte DDR5 modules also rose by about 50% to $135 and $1,194 respectively.
Yeah. RAM going up. That's the short version.
Going up a lot. The RAM is too high. The RAM is too high.
Security researcher Cody Koshiemba found that first generation Nest thermostats are still sending event logs to Google servers, at least if they're connected to the internet, despite Google no longer allowing cloud control or even offering support for the devices. They're just supposed to be used locally.
I feel some kind of way about this because I have a Gen 2 Nest that no longer works. I can't talk to my device and say, hey, keyword, turn the heat up. I can't do, turn it down. I can't even use the app to change it. I have to physically get up and walk to my thermostat. This is so 2009 for me. So, yeah, I have a problem with this one. Boing reports on a group of people organized in Discord that are creating community-based servers for Sony's doomed Concord game, though Sony has issued DMCA notices against gameplay recordings.
Yeah, don't show our failure being used to be played by a community. But I thought that was pretty cool. You know what else is cool? We've got all kinds of new stuff at the dailytechnewsshow.com/store location. Len Peralta made us some great new holiday art. It's Techie Santa using drones to pull his sleigh and delivering laptops and Apple Watches and all kinds of stuff to the children of the world. We also got a DTNS pint glass in there. RW Nash is going to be road testing that just as soon as it arrives. I'm going to get one-way down one of those two. And my new ebook, Synced, Know a Little More About Tech, is available as well, along with holiday cards, postcards, t-shirts, hoodies. It's all there at dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Hey there, it's Ryan Seacrest for Safeway. Flu season is here, and our pharmacies have you covered with a free flu shot with most insurance plans. Plus, it's cough and cold season, and now through December 2nd, stock up on all the season's essentials and get ready for relief with discounts on items like Mucinex Cold and Flu Kickstart, Mucinex Fast Max products, Vicks DayQuil and NyQuil Combo Pack, Alka-Seltzer Plus, also Airborne and Afrin. Offers end December 2nd. Restrictions apply, and offers may vary by location.
Visit Safeway.com for more details.
Hey guys, it's Paige from Giggly Squad, and if you're anything like me, holiday shopping has officially started. And you know where I'm going? Ulta Beauty. They have the cutest gift sets right now, like the Sol de Janeiro, Shea Rosa, and Cheer Perfume Mist Trio. It smells so good. I've been misting it everywhere. On me, on the street, on my pillow. It's a whole vibe. I'm obsessed with the Tarte Kindness Cafe Collector Set. It's packed with everyday makeup must-haves, and it's honestly too cute to wrap. And if you need a cozy little self-care moment, the Moroccan Oil Hand Care Essentials Kit is luxe, hydrating, and smells delicious. Don't worry if you can't decide right now. An Ulta Beauty gift card is the perfect gift for everyone. So whether you're gifting your bestie or yourself, make the season yours and head to Ulta Beauty today. Ulta Beauty, gifting happens here.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared perspectives. Today we have two from Anand Jr. and R.W. Nash.
Yeah, first one, Anand Jr., writing in response to our discussion of Google testing data centers in space. Anand Jr. said, I fear for the day that the data center crashed means something very, very different. Yeah, let's make sure we know how to keep those up there. Although they might burn up in reentry, that's still not good.
I would hope.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then R.W. Nash says, well, this is very timely and informative. What is he talking about? Sarah Lane interviewed Stephanie Humphrey over the weekend about how to identify AI slop, how to tell if something's AI, when what you can do to reduce your exposure to it, all that kind of stuff. RW Nash says, filing this under news you can use. However, I have a feeling that an update will be needed as slop will continue to get worse.
It's not going to get any better. The easier these tools are to make it, the more people that are going to make it. Therefore, the more of it that will exist. That's just what we signed up for.
We're gonna be a few years before we hit peak slop.
Yeah. Well, folks, we want to know what you're thinking about. So if you've got some insights into a story, share it with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Yeah, big thanks to Anand Jr. and RW Nash for contributing to today's show. You can contribute as well. Send us an email, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com, or post on our Patreon like they did. You keep us in business if you're a patron. You can sign up at patreon.com/DTNS.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Hey guys, it's Paige from Giggly Squad, and if you're anything like me, holiday shopping has officially started. And you know where I'm going? Ulta Beauty. They have the cutest gift sets right now, like the Sol de Janeiro, Shea Rosa, and Cheer Perfume Mist Trio. It smells so good. I've been misting it everywhere. On me, on the street, on my pillow. It's a whole vibe. I'm obsessed with the Tarte Kindness Cafe collector set. It's packed with everyday makeup must-haves, and it's honestly too cute to wrap. And if you need a cozy little self-care moment, the Moroccan Oil Hand Care Essentials Kit is luxe, hydrating, and smells delicious. Don't worry if you can't decide right now. An Ulta Beauty gift card is the perfect gift for everyone. So whether you're gifting your bestie or yourself, make the season yours and head to Ulta Beauty today. Ulta Beauty, gifting happens here.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.